Hey there, miners and crafters, RJ here. Welcome back to another episode of Chock-A-Block. On today's episode, we're going to take a look at adventures. We'll be discussing the Jolly Llama event, which I attended at the weekend, and I'll be showing you my latest build, which was inspired by the event, as well as the latest update, which made it all possible. So, to get to London, I actually don't live too far away, fortunately enough, but on this particular day, it was a Sunday, so we had Sunday service, and we had a few issues with the engineering works, so I actually had to get a replacement bus for the first few stations to get into London. So I didn't know this when I left my house at about 11 o'clock, got down to the station, realised there wasn't a replacement bus for another 30 minutes, so I decided to pull out my phone, get some screen recording going, take a look at the adventures down at the seafront, and I thought, well, let's do this. I knew that I had a few challenges today that I wanted to complete. I had a few tasks, personal objectives. I needed to collect some mud and some lava. So here we go. I was actually very fortunate because as soon as I put the screen recording on, I opened this tappable here and then I opened this chest. And lo and behold, what did I find? It was a bucket of mud. And for those of you who had watched my previous episode, you know I had some complications with a bucket of mud. I had lost mine. I needed one to finish off my cobblestone generator, as well as to test out a new, a smaller cooker. Just a 5x3 cooker rather than the cooker that we currently have, which will fit on an 8x8 base plate. So just quickly, before we go anywhere, I'll give you a quick rundown of the farm to date, and then we'll carry on and pick up on this first adventure on the seafront. So just a quick rundown here. We've got wheat and beets growing here. Just put a couple of lily pads there for decoration. We've got the melons to go there. I need to rearrange that actually. We've got dandelions and sunflowers growing here. We've got an infinite water source, our clutch rooms at the back there. We've got cactus, which is great because we can now create green dye. Side note, we can't actually use beets for red dye at the moment. Whether we can in the future, I don't know. We have got the cobblestone and dirt generator now fully functioning there with the vines all hanging around the side. And we've got our cooker here, which I mentioned earlier. We're going to try and make a smaller version for a smaller base plate. And then just a little platform there for shearing sheep. Okay. So we have our first adventure here along the seafront, and we have a very basic adventure here. We have some, in terms of resources, some dirt, a bit of cobblestone, some wood planks and some fencing, a torch, some flowers, all on the top level. And as we dig down, we see some spider webs. This is implying that there are spiders around. Now when you do see hostile mobs, make sure you kill them as quickly as you can. If they kill you, then you will lose everything that you've come into this adventure with in your hotbar, as well as any resources that you've collected in this session. So it's important to make sure you focus on just killing those first, clear any danger, and then you can exploit and flesh out this entire thing for resource. So we can see that there's some diorite there, we've got some andesite, we've got some stone. We're going to just keep digging down here, hoping to find something nice, and there's a bit of gold there. So top tip here, just use iron pickaxes for things that you need an iron pickaxe for. Try to use as many stone pickaxes for everything else. The exception to the rule being, if you're in a time-based adventure, maybe you're on your own and you just want to clear it out as quickly as possible, maybe it's cold outside and you just want to get it done and go home, then fair enough, you know, by all means use an iron pickaxe or stronger. But it's so easy to make stone pickaxes. I recommend just making a bunch en masse and bringing like 2, maybe 3 to each adventure with you. Now you can see I've spent a minute and a half here already and cleared quite a bit. I've found some iron, I've found some gold, as well as a fair bit of diorite, and that's pretty successful for considering the time. Now if you do these adventures with friends as well, they're very, very good because everybody gets the same resource. And what I mean by that is if I found diamond and we're in the same session, my friend would also get that diamond. So if you're out with friends and family and you see adventures, you've seen how quickly this one is, sometimes it's worth just doing it as quickly as possible and getting as much out of it as you can. Now I haven't seen any time on this one, but you will see in a second that this will crash. Now my game is going to close down completely. But I am quite fortunate that this happened, because I can show you what happens when this does crash, or at least this has happened to me 2 or 3 times, and every time I've just checked my resources. I didn't have any unsmelted gold before, so I know I've managed to keep all the resources that I thought I may have lost from crashing. So once you've checked that and you've seen you've got the resources, the next thing to do is just go back into the adventure if you had anything to carry on, because it does actually pick up from where you left off. Now, if there were other people in the adventure and they were continuing to collect resources whilst you were crashing, then unfortunately you wouldn't get those resources. Those resources would be only available to the people in the session at the time of collection. But here you can see I've just got a couple bits left. I just decide to carry on clearing everything out just in case there's anything, and it's lucky I came back because I found some coal. What is unfortunate is I knew I got all of my resources back. I got all of the resources that I'd collected from the last session. I knew this purely because I knew I didn't have any unsmelted gold, but in that session I had picked up some iron, and in previous adventures I had picked up some coal. So after this adventure is complete, you're going to see there is a screen that, you know, when it tells you you're calculating your experience and your items. It says it's calculating, and it tells me I received no experience and no items. So I go to look at my coal, but really I'm not too certain. Anyway, as I say, look, we're still here mining away. So in total, this is maybe now taking about 4 or 5 minutes to fully clear out. I suppose we can blame the crash a bit on that as well. But yes, it's definitely worth it. It's a handy resource. You know, the gold and the iron you're not going to get anywhere else. So it's definitely worth doing. But just quickly before we move on to the next adventure, I'm going to show you this calculating resources screen, and we'll try and get to the bottom of this at some point. I'll test it out next time it crashes, and I'll try and remember exactly what resource I've got, and I'll do some testing. But this may be a bug that you can go back into it, but you don't get anything else after. And the fact that this takes so long, it never takes this long calculating the resources. I didn't know if there was an internet issue or... But there you go. No XP and no items. So like I said, I checked my coal, but for the life of me I can't remember how much coal I had before. So anyway, on to the next adventure. So we've arrived at our next adventure. I am playing on a road that is currently under construction here, so you'll see there's some cones around, there's some areas that are blocked off, and it does limit to where I can actually place this. It does cause some AR gliding as I'm not on an exact flat surface, but it is what it is. So this adventure here has got a couple of cows and some chickens at the top. I see some trapdoors but not any levers in the area, so I start chopping away. Now there is a skeleton in here, and I don't notice him at first because I've got quite bad glare at this point. I do notice my screen go red though, and then I spot him. So even though I'm a bit late to it, I start attacking the skeleton, and then I continue to just chop away again, try and grab as much as I can. Usually when you see a mob like this and quite a bit of detail in the adventure like this, you can expect to find quite a nice resource, but they can be quite dangerous, and I guess I was a bit ill prepared, as you'll see in a minute, because 1, 2 and 3 skeletons all appear at the same time, and they almost wiped me out. So I get the last one just in time. I've got no health here, and like I say, I'm struggling with glare, so I think, is this worth the risk? Now you can see that there's some diamond there staring me straight in the face. I even uncover it a bit more and tap it a little bit, yet I do not see this in the game. It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. I check my screen here to see if I can make it any brighter, and I can't, and I think it's not worth the risk. I don't want to lose my bucket, I don't want to lose the stuff I've already gathered. You know, this one was just a bit difficult, and I didn't have my friends with me today, so I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to leave. So there's not much you can do about the glare, really, unfortunately. It is what it is. I guess if you could just try and maneuver yourself a bit more, cover it up. I guess the location I was being on a main road, but on the section that was closed off, I kind of just felt maybe a bit weird and out of place there as well. So yeah, it is what it is, but we'll move on. Okay guys, so I'm just currently clearing this very simple adventure plate here. Now the reason I'm showing you the footage for this one is because unfortunately in London this was the only footage I managed to get of any adventures. Now I did loads of adventures. When I got to South Bank there was just a whole string of them all the way up to the Jolly Llama event, and I recorded about 30 minutes worth of footage leading up to there, and unfortunately for whatever reason my phone had decided that it wasn't going to save it. Now I checked the recording several times during the process, and it kept flashing saying it was recording until right at the end I finally checked one last time as I was approaching the Queen's Walk, which I'm glad I did because I would have not gathered any of the footage of the event either, but it just wasn't flashing anymore. So I thought, oh, maybe it just cancelled, maybe it's a memory issue. So I checked my photos, my documents, there was nothing in there, no recording. So I checked to see if I had run out of memory, and I had 20 gigabyte left of memory. So I have no idea why that didn't record. Very frustrating. If it wasn't so late by the time I got to the event and we were losing sunlight, I would have just gone back and re-recorded all of those adventures, but at that point it was just getting too late to be able to do that as well. So I was quite frustrated. You know, I'd gone all that way to London to catch footage, and 30 minutes of solid footage with really interesting adventures got removed, you know, puzzles, that sort of thing. So I am disappointed and I apologise for that. This adventure, the only one I managed to record in London, the first one I did when I got off the train, although it appears quite boring, had a lot of coal. So it had no other resources in here, but it was very coal rich. It also had some mossy cobblestone, and you know, it's just normal stone as standard. But yeah, it was reasonably good. If you need water for any reason, I mean, you usually get them with build plates anyway, but if you need water for any reason, there's water here as well. Bring your buckets and you can take it. So yes, at least I managed to get this. So what we'll move on to next is I'll show you the some of the footage I got at the event. As you're going to see in a minute, it is very, very busy, so it was difficult to get any good footage of the full event, but I do manage to get footage of that new mob, which I know quite a few people were excited to see. I know I, for one, am very excited for the ram to be released into the wild. He is a very cute and angry fluffball. So, without further ado, we'll just move on to that now. So when you arrive at these events, it's very easy to access. It's all spelled out for you. There are these statues in the area which explain how to install the game, what it's about, and how to scan your QR code. Now it's very intuitive. As soon as I put my phone screen over that, it almost instantly recognised the QR code, and it was getting ready to put me into the event. And you can see the sparkles in the area, trying to find a flat surface, but somebody at the event did approach me and start talking to me. Very friendly fellow. The whole crew at the event were great. They were so friendly and helpful to everyone that was either interested in the game or, you know, just wanted to know what was going on, letting people take photos of all of the cool statues. You had the Muddy Pig, the Moo Bloom, the Jolly Llama there. Yeah, it was fantastic. In fact, they even had security there because they had to stop people from riding the Muddy Pig, and we had a great laugh about that because, you know, the idea of hiring 2 security members just to prevent children from riding a muddy pig, it was just comical. But yeah, really, really great event. As I say, it was really busy by the time I got down there, but if you get down there early enough, then it should be a lot quieter. And from the footage I've seen from the New York and Sydney ones, it seems to be a bit easier in terms of placing this down. I'll skip to the footage in a moment, and you'll see exactly how busy it was down at the Queen's Walk, down at South Bank. But just quickly, I'm just going to pop on the screen where you can effectively find these as well. So there's 3 locations in total. You've got New York, London and Sydney. I'm just going to keep that posted there for a second if you want to take a screenshot of that, if these are locations that you know, if you can get to one of these locations by this weekend and you're interested to, then there you go. If you are close to one, I highly recommend it. It was great fun, and I'm tempted to go again this weekend. I really am. But yes, we'll jump forward now to me actually accessing the event. Okay, and we're back. and because I was gone for quite a while, my connection did time out. But even though I didn't actually access the event itself, just scanning the QR code gave me the Jolly Llama, as you can see there. So that's quite cool. So even if you have AR issues, I'm wondering whether you could still at the moment use the QR code to access that Jolly Llama for future purposes. I'm not sure, but even though it's an exclusive event right now and it's an exclusive mob for that event, I do suspect that it will be released. I'm not certain on that, but considering the event finishes on the 1st of December, you would think that it would be coming out around Christmas time. Anyway, so as you can see here, I've placed the event down in the only spot available, and it is just bombarded with people. Now it's only busy at this time because I got here quite late due to the train issues, and I did get caught up in some adventures, and you know, this is just after lunchtime. Loads of tourists in the area. It is Sunday. People either traveling, you see people there with suitcases, people either traveling to or from their location. So yeah, it was quite busy. It meant I couldn't fully immerse myself into this and experience the event in its entirety, and I'm very tempted to go back on Saturday to do so, but I was very interested in the horned sheep. I knew I've got the Jolly Llama now. I'm going to be able to take that home and enjoy it. I mean, there he is, you know, standing there is quite cool, but the horned sheep isn't something we're going to have yet, and I don't know when it's going to get released. So I did really want to get some footage of this. So I was talking about it, and Harry suggested, you know, that I try and punch it. So I try it from a distance. Nothing's really happening. So he convinces me to go over. So we maneuver around these people here, try and get a nice spot, and yeah, I go to open the gate. He says, "No, don't do that." He says, "Just punch the punch the horned sheep." So I punch him, and it comes charging at me. And yeah, apparently he will just continue to try and attack me until either I'm dead, he's dead, or he can't. So here you see he's just given up now and goes back to just eating some grass. Still giving me the eye, of course, so I'll try and feed it. There's nothing at the moment in terms of being able to feed this particular animal. In fact, I don't think you can feed any animals in the game yet, so I'm not sure whether this food was here just to lure them. Maybe it's part of the event. I need to look into that a bit more, and that's why I'm really tempted to go back on Saturday. I've now bought my gimbal. If I get there early enough, I feel like I can get some pretty good footage of this event, so I'm going to look into it, see what more that it entails, but that was all I managed to catch of this. What we're going to move on to now is my new build. Effectively, it's quite festive. It's inspired by the Jolly Llama event, and yeah, let's just go take a look. So I thought I would just finish this video by showing you this new build. It's a very simple Winter Wonderland, if you like. It's made predominantly out of wool, and I use quite a lot of dye. So if you're interested in knowing how to obtain so much of these resources, you can check out episode 2 of my channel, where I discuss the wool, the dyes, and I use the new update, if you like, to create a giant chicken. So I am interested in seeing what other potential the dyes are going to bring in the future, but yes, I definitely suggest checking out if you want to. Here we've got an igloo, which very simple build. I'm very looking forward to the new biomes available at level 20, so I'm going to be trying to grind that out before the end. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this while I finish off the video. So just talking about the Jolly Llama event again, the AR compatibility, how easy it was to just access that, go in there. When I accessed the event as well, I was given a bunch of resources and a bunch of items such as weapons and tools. Now you don't get to keep those, but the fact that they can just preload those, that a whole inventory for you for these events, it's just very exciting to me, because it just screams potential for the future of these events. You know, people are going to be able to attend in groups. You'll just walk up to an area within this event, within a park, and just scan your QR code. It will load up with this entire adventure for you and your friends, and also a bunch of strangers that you can meet and network with, a bunch of, you know, fellow players within the community, and you can just have a blast. You know, I'm very excited about what the future brings for this game. I can already see a lot of potential in it, and when they release the first events, you know, the big events where they're going to be selling tickets and getting people to come from all over the world, that's just going to be, yeah, I think phenomenal. So I'm very excited to see what that brings. People bringing their builds to those events, meeting a bunch of new people. It's going to be such a fantastic experience. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Please leave your comments as well. I want to know what your thoughts are on the adventures, on the Jolly Llama event, on the future of events, and yeah, if anyone is interested in anything in particular in this build, I'm more than happy to show you that gift at the back there. It's a very cool idea if you want to gift anyone anything this Christmas. If you've got any new friends that are playing the game, you want to give them some iron or some gold to help them out, it's a nice little starter. Anyway, it's been great having you, and take care.